Hey everybody, Thomas here with TLFC, and this week we're gonna rank some kits. We have 10 new kits released by MLS this season. Third kits, and they are calling this the Archive Collection. Basically, they're retro shirts inspired by these teams' early histories. I think they're very cool. I think it's an awesome collection. So I wanted to rank them. We're gonna go from 10th to 1st, and I'm gonna pick my favorite. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. But without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and take a look at some kits and go ahead and rank them. Alright, so before I get into it, I just want to say I actually like all these shirts. I think they're all really cool. I'd probably snag it if I was a fan of any of these teams. But when you rank shirts, someone's got to get 10th and someone's got to get 1st. So that's just the way the cookie crumbles, guys.
And that's the way the cookie crumbles.
But without further ado, let's hop into it. With our 10th ranked team, I went with Nashville. So Nashville had some pretty boring shirts this year. This is definitely their best shirt they've released all year, but to me, it doesn't really capture those super retro vibes. Just my opinion. I believe this shirt is inspired by the Nashville Diamonds, who are a team who played in the American Soccer League in 1982. Hard to say, but I think that's where they drew their inspiration. One thing I really like about this shirt is that script. I think the Nashville script, that little wavy script, looks sharp. And then the nicest touch on this shirt has to be the dot on the eye. Basically, that's the stars and the circle from the Tennessee flag. I think that's a really cool touch. I think it's a cool shirt. Like I said, Nashville had bad shirts this year. If I was a Nashville fan, I would snag this in a heartbeat, but someone's got to get 10th, so Nashville is in 10th.
Yeah, I have a lot of questions. Number one, how dare you?
All right, in 9th, I went with the Columbus Crew. So here's a look at what Columbus came up with. And I gotta say, I think it's a sharp looking shirt, but just doesn't really capture retro vibes to me. The coolest thing about this shirt is they are using that original crest from 1996, the original crest of the team. So that's a nice touch, but it just doesn't really pop or scream retro to me. Like I said, it's clean, it's a cool shirt, but it doesn't give me those vibes. If you look at their shirt from 1996, you can kind of see why they didn't go with that design, because it's kind of a crummy design. So they kind of went with something a little different, just using that old crest. But to me, like I said, doesn't scream retro, so I think 9th is a good spot for Columbus.
What, are you blind?
All right, in 8th, I went with DC United. So DC is kind of the opposite of Columbus here. They actually made this shirt look exactly like their 1996 shirt. The problem is, their 1996 shirt is pretty boring. That one doesn't even scream retro, and it was 30 years old, so they didn't really have the best canvas to go off of, but they did nail the look. I gotta give them credit for that. I really like the red badge on this, the red eagle. I love the red Adidas. I think those look sharp, but all in all, it's a little bit boring. Doesn't really look retro to me, so for that reason, I ranked it a little bit lower. So I had to put this one in 8th place.
It's boring, but it's part of my life.
All right, in 7th, I went with the Colorado Rapids. So here's a look at what Colorado came up with. Obviously, they went back to their 1996 original color schemes and badges here. This crest they're using is one of their original crests from that era, and these are the original colors they used for that era. This shirt just doesn't really pop off the shelf to me. It's a little bit boring, but I like those touches of the original logo, the original crest. I think those look cool. I like the collar on this one, but all in all, doesn't scream retro, but they worked okay with what they had to work with, so I don't hate it. So for me, I think 7th place is a good spot for Colorado.
Well, I worked with what I had.
All right, in 6th place, I went ahead and went with Charlotte. So here's a look at what Charlotte came up with, and this shirt is inspired by the Carolina Lightning, who is a team that played in the American Soccer League from 1981 to 83. And I really like the color scheme they went with on this one. I think it looks really sharp, honestly. I love the badge. I love that crown badge. Every time they use that simple crown badge on their shirts, I just think it looks really, really cool. I think that's a nice touch. I like this highlighter yellow and highlighter blue look. It pops. I think it's a cool shirt. Has a great collar on it as well. I think they did really well with this, but it just doesn't scream retro like some of these other shirts that I ranked higher do. But I think they did a nice job, so for me, I had to put them in 6th place.
That is bright!
All right, in 5th, I went with FC Dallas, or as you can see on their shirt here, the Dallas Burn, which was their original name in 1996. I think this shirt does a really good job paying homage to that original 1996 team. Actually, if you look at some of their old kits, it's actually pretty darn similar to those kits. It definitely has a retro vibe, but I don't necessarily like it as much as some of these other ones I ranked a little bit higher, but I think it's a cool shirt. I love that it pays homage to the Dallas Burn. I think they'll probably sell a ton of these. I think Dallas fans will actually really like this shirt, but for me, it's not my absolute favorite color scheme, so I maybe ranked it a little low based on what some people might think, so I think 5th place is a good spot for FC Dallas.
Oh, it's a deep burn.
All right, in 4th place, we have the New England Revolution, and here's a look at what New England came up with, and some people I think absolutely hate this, but I think it's pretty cool looking. And honestly, I think they did a good job drawing from their 1996 kits, drawing inspiration from that, and kind of modernizing it. And honestly, it looks retro. It looks like something you would wear in the 90s. As someone who was born in the late 80s, shirts like this were very, very prevalent in the 90s when I was a kid growing up. I think they did a good job capturing that. It definitely looks retro to me. The one thing I would say I'm not a huge fan of is the central badge location. They could have done a little better with that in my opinion, but I don't want to be too nitpicky. I think it's kind of cool, honestly. Like I said, you might not agree, but I think they nailed it. I think they did a good job making a retro shirt. So I went ahead and put New England in 4th. All right, in 3rd place, I went with the San Jose Earthquakes, and here's a look at what San Jose came up with, and obviously they are the San Jose Clash on this shirt, which was the name of the team originally in 1996. I think this shirt absolutely screams 90s retro. If you look at their shirt from 1996, you can see they definitely drew inspiration from that shirt, but they definitely made it a lot more vibrant, a lot more going on, and I gotta say, I like it, because if you're gonna make a 90s retro shirt, you might as well go all out, and they definitely went all out. I think it looks sharp, I like the color scheme, and it screams 90s, so well done, San Jose. I think 3rd place is a good spot for this shirt.
Why's it got so many colors in it, man?
All right, in 2nd place, I went with Minnesota United, and here's a look at what Minnesota came up with, and this shirt is inspired by the Minnesota Kicks, who are actually an NASL team that played from 1976 to 1981, and as you can see with the Kicks logo, they used that script on the loons here on the middle of the shirt, which is obviously their nickname. I think that's a really, really nice touch. It looks super retro. It really has that 70s script vibe, and I think they did a good job with that. And I also really like the diamond pattern in this shirt. It definitely screams 90s to me. I think it's honestly a cool shirt. If I was a Minnesota fan, I would definitely snag this. I like the entire color scheme. I think it's a sharp shirt. I think it screams retro with the script and the diamond patterns. They did a good job. So for me, it was easily my 2nd place shirt on this list. All right, that's going to bring us to our 1st place team, and I went with the Seattle Sounders. So here's a look at what Seattle came up with, and I got to say I really, really like this one. I just think it looks super clean. They used that old Seattle Sounders logo, but they moved the position of the whale and brought that up to the crest, which is really cool. I love the whale on the crest. It gives me those Free Willy vibes, which was, if you were alive at that time, Free Willy was a massively popular movie in the 90s, and I love the sleeves on this one. I really like the way they did this shirt, and if you look at that shirt from 1996, they more or less nailed it. Obviously, it looks a little bit different, but they did a good job pulling in those original colors, and I just like it. I think the badge is awesome. I love the Sounders logo, the old Sounders logo. I think it looks really sharp. Seattle has been making some bangers. All their kits have been really, really nice in the last few years, and this one is no exception. They did a great job with this one as well, so well done, Seattle. For me, that's the best shirt of the Archive collection for 2025. All right, guys, that's going to do it for another video. Thank you for watching. Let me know which kit you think was the best one. Obviously, I don't expect everyone to agree with me, so if you don't, go ahead and let me know down below. If you do, also let me know. But without further ado, guys, thanks for watching. If you're new here, please consider dropping a like, dropping a sub. I would really appreciate it, trying to grow the channel. But thanks for watching. Have a super fantastic weekend, and we'll see you on the next one, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.